Welcome to the fourth week of our series called Different. The main idea of this series is that we want to think different so that we can be different, so that we can ultimately make a difference on this planet. But not only just make a difference, but so that we can experience the fullness that God has for our life. And so today we're going to be talking about how to think different about God's promises. How to think different about God's promises. How many of you would say, man, I like to be in control? Raise your hand if you like to be in control. Be honest. I know some of y'all, and y'all ain't raising your hand, And if there's something in you that's like, I want to raise their hand, then you like to be in control as well. And see, when it comes to the promises of God, many of us, let's just be honest, we truly deep inside, we want to fully trust Him. I believe that if I was to walk around this room and go, hey, do you fully want to trust God? You would go, yes, Marco, I truly do. I want to trust God fully. But many of us, we find it very difficult to fully trust because we want to be in control. And here's the deal. We cannot fully trust and be fully in control at the same time. We can't fully trust God. God, I trust you, and then fully be in control at the same time. And this is where we have to learn to think different. Again, think different so that we can be different. Deuteronomy 9:23, if you can go and pull that up for me, it says, go up and take possession of the land I have given you. But you rebelled against the command of the Lord your God. You did not what? You did not trust Him or obey Him. See, many of us, we live in this dilemma. We believe in God, but we don't fully trust. And this is called living a partially surrendered life. Say that with me. Say partially surrendered life. Partially surrendered life. We're going to give God some parts of our lives, but we're not going to surrender every area of our life. See, Proverbs 3:5-6 in the PSV version, I'm going to say that one more time, PSV version, it says this, trust in the Lord with some of your heart, lean on your own understanding, in some of your ways acknowledge Him, and you can make your own path straight. That's Proverbs 3:5-6 in the PSV version. And how many of you know what the PSV version is? It's the partially surrendered version. You're like, Marco, that doesn't sound like the Bible. It's not the Bible, just to give you a heads up. This is going to sting a little bit, but this is how many of us live our lives. We live our lives saying, God, I'll give some things to you, but I'm not going to give everything. I'll give you an hour on Sunday for church, but hey, not Friday and Saturday night. No, time out. That's my time to partay. That's my time to get down. God, I'll give you the first of my day by doing my Devo time, by doing my 10-10 time. By the way, we do what we call 10-10 time around here. It's waking up each morning, spending 10 minutes talking with God and praying with God, and then 10 minutes reading our Bible. And so, man, I'll give you the first part of my morning, doing my 10-10 time, reading my Devo, spending time with you. But man, when it comes to the first of my money, no, God, I still got control of that. That's mine. That's mine. See, God, I'm going to trust you with my salvation because I want to go to heaven. But when it comes to my kids and their present and future, no, God, their agenda, it's going to be set by me. Matter of fact, I was sitting there and I was playing with my son actually last night. And I was watching something, and I think a commercial came on about the military, and I go, man, I just don't know how parents do it, how they allow their kids to just go off and serve in the armed forces. And if you've served in the armed forces, man, thank you so much. We love you. We honor you. We thank you for serving. But I'm sitting here looking at my son going, man, if he ever told me I was going in the military, I'd be like, no, you're not. You know what I mean? And my wife looks at me and she goes, but what if God wants him to be an incredible general in the military? And I went, well, maybe you're right. See, we want to be in control of our kids, but what if God says, no, I want to be in control of their future? See, God has a purpose for you and for me. He has a purpose for our children. He has a purpose for our family and our friends. And let me just say this. The purpose that God has for your life is absolutely incredible. But let me just say this. You will never fully experience it by holding any part of your life back. See, what if I told my wife, hey, babe, I love you. Baby, I am so down for you. But I need you to know this. I'm only partially committed. Should I expect any blessing from my wife? Absolutely not. But a lot of times we live our life for God that way. It's God, I'm in, I believe in you, I believe in Jesus for my salvation, but I'm only partially committed to this thing. See, maybe you're here and thoughts go through your head like this, man, God, I believe you'll answer others' prayers, but I'm not sure you'll answer mine. Maybe that's you. I know that's something, man, I've struggled with. God, I'm believing for them, but when it comes to my own personal life, I just don't quite know. You know, God, I'm worried about this. And this thing that I'm worried about, I gave it to you, but you didn't do it fast enough. You didn't get involved fast enough. You didn't answer my prayer fast enough. So God, I'm taking that back. I'll take control of this area. Or God, I want to trust you with everything, but I just can't do it. God, I want to trust you with everything, but I just can't do it. If any of these kind of touch a little bit of maybe what you've dealt with, I want you to know you're in a good spot today. You came to a great place today. This isn't a place where we're going to beat you upside the head. You know, I've had people come up to me and be like, Mark, you know, what kind of church is that? I mean, is that just kind of like a, you know, am I going to walk in there and kind of get slapped upside the head with a 2x4? Because that's what I really like. And I'm like, you like that? I mean, I get beat up enough during the week. I want to come to a church and I want to be encouraged, you know. And so if you're here today and you deal with that, I want you to know you're going to be encouraged today. If you struggle with a partially surrendered life, I want you to know, go ahead and pull that up. You're not alone in your faith struggles. You're not. You're not alone. You're not alone. Mark 9, and we're going to get into this in just a little bit. In Mark 9, there's a story of a dad who has his son, and you know the relationship of a parent to a child. There's nothing more loving than that relationship. And this dad's son was actually demon-possessed. And so this dad, he brings his son, and he hears that this Jesus guy is doing all kinds of cool miracles, and that he actually finds some of the disciples, and he said, hey, disciples of Jesus, here's my son. Can you please cast these demons out? Can you please heal him? And the disciples go over there, they start praying for him, they can't do it, and so the dad's a little bit frustrated, and he ends up going to Jesus and saying, Jesus, I took my son to your disciples, they couldn't heal him. Can you please heal my son? Can you please heal him? And this is where we pick up in Mark 9, 22 through 24. It says this. This dad looks at Jesus and says, but if you can do anything, take pity on us and help us. And Jesus looks at him and says, time out. If you can, said Jesus, everything is possible for one who believes. Immediately the boy's father exclaimed, I do believe. Help me overcome my unbelief. I can remember this being a drug dealer and then giving my heart to Jesus. And I remember people looking at me going, there's no way you can change your life around. And I remember thinking, man, there is no way that I can truly change my life around. The mess that I'm in, the things that I'm involved in. But Jesus, if you can, will you? Jesus, if you can, please use me. Jesus, if you can, please do something in my life. And Jesus looks at us and goes, if I can, watch what I'm going to do through your life. See, I love this passage. Why? Because my faith is imperfect. I don't know about you, but you're looking at a man where my faith is imperfect, just like all of ours. It's lacking in certain areas. It's flawed. And what I love about this verse is that God is giving us permission to believe in Him, but also ask Him for help where we don't believe. Maybe you have an area, it's like, Marco, if I'm just honest, I've been holding on to this area in my life. I just don't have the faith to trust God and fully surrender it to Him. See, the dad in this passage of Scripture, he struggled with this tension. He struggled with the tension of, I believe in you, God, but I also want to be in control. I believe in you, but I also want to be in control. But Jesus, can you please help me where I don't trust? Jesus, can you please help me where I don't trust? So what I want to ask you to do today is this. Get honest. Get honest. Because every single one of us in this room, if we are honest, there's an area in our life that we're white-knuckling, that we're just holding on to it, you know. And I would say this. I want you to answer and get honest with this question or this statement. I don't fully trust God, fill in the blank. Just fill in the blank. I don't fully trust God in this area. I don't trust God with my children. I don't trust God for my salvation. I don't trust God with my life. I don't trust Him with my finances. I don't trust Him for forgiveness. I don't trust Him for protection. I don't trust that He's going to do what's best for me, to love me, heal me, and guide me. What is the area that you don't fully trust God in? Now I want you to take that area and apply it to this verse. Here's the real verse. Proverbs 3, 5 through 6. Trust. Say that with me. Say trust. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to Him, and He will make your paths straight. Please leave that up there for me for just a second. I want to draw your attention to this word, in all your ways submit. In all your ways submit. If you take this word and break it down, the Hebrew word for submit is yada, Y-A-D-A, yada. And basically what this word means is to come to know and submit by observing, reflecting, and experiencing. God, I don't trust you in this area, I'll be honest, but I want to come to know you in that area. So what I'm going to do is I'm fully going to submit in this area of my life. I'm going to submit it over to you, and I'm going to come to know you. I'm going to just trust you. I'm going to begin stepping and walking in faith. I'm going to observe, reflect, and experience. In other words, the Bible says, trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not on your own understanding. In all. Everyone say all. Notice it doesn't say some. It doesn't say a part. It says all. In all your ways, come to know the Lord and submit to Him by observing, reflecting, and experiencing Christ. Then guess what happens? Then God will make your paths straight. See, God will not bring into order the chaos in your life until you yada Him. Y-A-D-A. Y-A-D-A. Yada Him. And let me just say this. When it comes to yada is... This word is also used in Genesis when it talks about Adam knowing Eve, and then they bore a child. And it's easy to go, whoa, wait a second, like Adam and Eve, and then they bore a child. Yeah, I know what that yada is all about. That's not what we're talking about here. This is not a sexual knowing God. This is an intimate knowing God. Until we fully, intimately know Him, it's just, God, I trust you because I know you. As I look back over my life, Father, even when I was faithless, you remained faithful. Even when I didn't know what to do, God, you knew exactly what to do. Even when things in my life weren't good, God, you caused everything to work together for my good. And so I know this one thing, if it's not good, God, then you are not done. I am going to trust you in this area, and I'm going to fully submit my heart to you. See, before God makes your path straight, before He fixes the chaos in your life, He says, hey, I first have got to know you. I first have to intimately know you. And the way that you begin to know God is through a relationship with Jesus Christ. See, but a lot of times we want God to prove Himself so that we can trust Him. For example, we say things or we think things like this: God, if you will, then I will trust. God, if you will do this, then I will do this. And my question is that really trust at all? Is that trusting God? If you do this, God, then I will do that. If you let me land that promotion, God, at work, then I will serve you at work. And God's going, no, time out. It's actually the other way around. And this is where we have to learn to think different. Again, it's a little bit challenging. I've got to learn how to think different so that I can be different, so that I can truly experience the fullness of God in my life. See, God says this, trust me. Just trust me. And then I will show myself trustworthy. Hebrews 11:1, it says, now faith is confidence in what we hope for, and assurance about what we do not see. I can remember when God actually gave us this church building. I had an anonymous donor approach us and said, hey, we love what's going on at Vibrant Church. We love the life change that's happening and the people that are getting saved and the families that are getting saved. And man, we want to give you guys a church building. And I remember going, okay, wow, this is incredible. And God gave us the building. And then there was a time of, okay, I don't know if any of you have ever been in this facility before now, but it looked completely different. And I remember thinking, how in the world are we going to renovate this place? I mean, we are not rolling in the dough, you know what I'm saying? But by the way, we're debt-free. And we've been debt-free ever since we've started this church. And I remember thinking, you know what, God? I don't know how we're going to do it. I don't know how you're going to do it, but I do know one thing. We're going to step in the water, and we're going to watch you part the water. And then, man, we started renovating, and God started doing some cool stuff and giving us finances. And then all of a sudden, we had somebody contact us and say, hey, we want to give you a parking lot as well. And we're like, oh, my gosh. But let me just say this. There was a time going into this where it was like, God, all right, you called us, so I'm going to trust you. And as we begin to trust God, guess what God began to do? He began to show himself trustworthy. And let me just say this, Vibrant Church. I don't have to get up here. I don't have to yell. I don't have to scream. But God is going to continue to be trustworthy to us. And he's going to continue to be trustworthy in your life as well. Now, faith is confidence in what we hope for and assurance about what we do not see. Faith is believing in what you cannot prove so that it releases God to do what we could never do. See, there's a story of actually a fact about the African impala. And I'm not talking about the car, I'm talking about the thing that looks like a deer. You know what I'm talking about? And maybe you've been to the zoo and you've seen these little impalas. They're not extremely big, they're not extremely small, but they're animals that are incredibly fast, and when in full speed, they can jump 10 feet in the air. So like over Michael Jordan when he was doing that thing like this on the famous picture, impalas can jump over that, but not only can they jump 10 feet in the air, they can also jump 30 feet long. But did you know this about the impala? The impala can actually be contained by a 3-foot solid wall. You can go to the zoo and you can see impalas and you can see that, and you can even think in your head, man, these guys can jump over that fence, that 3-foot solid wall. How is this 3-foot solid wall containing these creatures that can jump 10 feet high and 30 feet long? How is this even possible? This is how it's possible. Because in the instinct of an impala, they will not jump where they can't see their feet landing. And so if they can't see pass through that solid wall, they're not going to jump over that wall because they don't know what's on the other side. See, many of us, we live this way. God, unless I know exactly how this is going to work out, this thing is going to remain in my control. But Marco, it's hard to trust God. I understand. But not if you yada God. God, I know you. I'm gonna let every area of my life be surrendered to you. I want to intimately know you. I don't want to just spend time with you in the morning. I want to walk with you. I want my life to be completely surrendered to you. See, when we know God, we don't have to see where our feet will land. It's important that we don't just hear this message, but that we actually apply it. And it's easy to come to church and it's easy to go, and I understand, I get it 100%. It's easy to come in and be like, man, that was good. I could see how that could really fit my life. But here's what I want to challenge you to do. Again, this whole series is really here to help us think different so that we can be different, so that we can experience the fullness of God in our life. And so this is what I want you to do. I have a challenge for you today. And in the next 48 hours, I want you to take a step. I want you to take a step in trusting God. And go ahead and pull up that next slide for me. Whatever that step is, whatever you wrote in that line, whether it's kids, whether it's finances, whether it's health, whether it's your marriage, whether it's a relationship, whatever is in that blank, in the next 48 hours, I simply want you to do this. God, I release this to you. I trust you in this area. I step out in faith, and I believe that you're going to show yourself trustworthy. And here's some assurance for you to lean on. Psalms 100, 3 through 5. It says, know that the Lord is God. It is He who made us, and we are His. We are His people, the sheep of His pasture. Enter His gates with thanksgiving and His courts with praise. You want to draw close to the heart of God? Approach God with gratitude. God, thank you. Thank you for the heartbeat in my chest. Thank you for the breath in my lungs. Thank you that I get to wake up this morning and experience life. God, I realize not everything's working out in my life perfectly right now, but I want to yada you. I want to be close to you. I want to trust you. Help me. I thank you for your goodness. We enter His gates with thanksgiving, His courts with praise. Give thanks to Him and praise His name, for the Lord is good. And maybe you grew up and you didn't necessarily grow up with the image that the Lord is good. You actually grew up with an image that, man, maybe God is in heaven just waiting to crack you upside the head with a hammer. Maybe your image of God was He's just absent. I believe that He exists, but I don't think He really wants anything to do with me. I mean, see, I see good things happen in everyone else's life, but I've seen what's happened in my life. Yeah, I believe in this God, but I don't think He really is a good God. I don't think He really cares for me. But the Bible says this, the Lord is good. The Lord is good. God is a good God, and His love endures forever. Marco, I messed up. Good news. His love endures forever. Marco, I made a mistake, man. Good news. It's all good. We all have. His love endures forever. Marco, I want control of this area. Well, let me encourage you. Let me challenge you a little bit. Give it up to Him. But I want you to know, despite that, His love endures forever. He loves you. He loves you just the way you are, but He loves you enough not to leave you that way. And that's where He would say, hey, whatever area in your life that you're still controlling, give it to me and watch me be faithful. His faithfulness continues through all generations. God is faithful to take whatever's on your line and show Himself trustworthy. Think different about your line so you can be different about your line, so you can see God show Himself faithful with what's on your line.